as a creative person, you're having deals over the handshake and everything, but you do need a legal way to document every form of agreements that you have with someone. People say you can't copyright an idea. Is that entirely true?
An idea is not expressed. So how do you copyright it? You should be mindful of the tools that you use. Some of the tools that you use claim ownership of the works that you produce. This person, I believe, didn't do a lot of research, ran with it, created wait list and all that. Along the line, the idea never came to being because there are certain ventures that are even not legal in Ghana.
For content creators, what are some of the legal documents that you think they should have when they're having an agreement with somebody? Say a brand reaches out to them.
So I think I don't know why you would rely on AI to draft your contract for you. This can affect how much money the people are coming to pump into your business.
Notice that 92% of you that watch this channel watch it on your television, and so you are not subscribed. Please, the free and easy way that you can support us is by taking your phone right now, search for The Journey Uncovered on YouTube, and subscribe. Turn on your post notification as well, because it really helps us and the algorithm to push our videos and our content out. Thank you. Let's get back into the video. Right. So today we have a lawyer here. As a creative person, you're having deals with people, having conversations with people, having deals over the handshake and everything. But you do need a legal way to document every form of agreements that you have with someone. Now, that is why we have our resource person here. She goes by the name Jaqueline. She is a lawyer. And today we are about to be schooled. All right. So, Jacqueline, could you kindly introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure, my name is Jaqueline Simpson Esquire. I'm a lawyer called the Bar in Ghana. For the most part of my practice, even though it's been just a few years, I've worked with technology companies. Currently, I work in a fintech company as a legal officer, helping with regulatory and compliance issues there. I think personally, I have an interest to help entrepreneurs, people starting businesses to get it right, especially when it comes to engaging legal services. So that's me.
So today we have you here to, educate our audience, because we do have a lot of creative people and business people that are constantly making deals with people. And every single time you hear cases like, oh, this person stole my work and now has presented my work as their work and there's nothing I can do. So we'll be asking you a series of questions so that you inform us on what to do whenever we even get a call from a client. So first off, why is it important for entrepreneurs to engage a lawyer when they are starting their business?
Okay. I don't know if it's just in Ghana, but I think you have realized that there's a need for lawyers to be engaged at the beginning. Let me put that there. At the beginning, even before you start your business. It's very important because there's so many things you may not know. I think usually entrepreneurs are very charismatic people. They have an idea, they want to run with it and all that. But there's so many things that you may not know and you may not have figured out. And the lawyer is there to help or to guide you. There are things like regulations, compliance, taxes, and a whole lot of other things. Assuming you don't know any of these things, people start businesses without even consulting anybody. So when you involve a lawyer in your deal, the person is able to tell you, okay, this industry or this practice is regulated. So you need to have a license from the regulator. For instance, if it's a finance venture, you need to see the BOG. If it's something with telecom, you have to see the NIC and whatnot. So involving a lawyer at the beginning, at the point that you have developed your idea, I think you should involve a lawyer in there. And sometimes the lawyer can even help fine tune the idea because there are certain ventures that are even not legal. Let's even take Ghana that are not legal in Ghana. So or they are no they are restricted activities. So if you involve a lawyer who has understanding of how laws and how policies work in Ghana, at least able to fine tune your idea and also help you set up your business the right way.
Hmm. Nice to get that. So your personal interest in entrepreneurs, how have you explored it? in recent times?
As I said, I currently work in a fintech company as a legal officer, but I do have opportunities where I work with entrepreneurs. So I have a few people whom I work with to help them make sure that they are on course with the things that they do. Maybe in future I'll set up a law firm to focus on this. But on the side, that's something I do. So
On the side.
yeah.
Nice. Now, since you mentioned that you work with a lot of entrepreneurs in Ghana, what do you think are some of the common mistakes that they make?
Okay. Market research. I'm very big on that. I think a lot of people start businesses without doing enough research. Somebody gets an idea, they are enthusiastic about it. They've seen something happen in the USA, they want to replicate it in Ghana, and they just run with it. I feel that before you run with an idea, you need to do as much research as possible. Is it a regulated industry? Are there licenses you need to get to start the business? How much capital is needed? How much human resource is needed? I think lots of people just with an idea starts and run with it without doing lots of research. So they begin the business and along the line, you'd see that they get stuck midway. Sometimes they have to pivot to do something that's it's relevant within the space that they're working in. But I think that before you start a business, you should be as much thorough with your research as possible.
As possible. I've seen a company that started. It started as they produce, tech glasses that allow blind people to read. All of a sudden, they pivoted to a B2B finance. And I was like, what happened? Why that switch?
Let me tell you a story. So a few years ago, there was this company that made lots of noise on Twitter that they are going to do something within the finance space. That was not done in Ghana. It's something that was common in Nigeria. The person spearheading this was a Nigerian. So when it comes to Ghana, especially when you have to do with finance, there's so much regulations, and the BOG is very particular about these things. This person, I believe, didn't do a lot of research, run with it, created wait list and all that. Along the line, the idea never came to being because this person didn't do a lot of research. So they have people interested in their product, they have customers waiting, but it never happened. So for me, I think that market research is very important. And this even goes beyond legal aspects. Everything. People are not um real about, or they don't get to the point where they appreciate how much money they need to start a venture. Because as I said, a lot of people are very charismatic. They have an idea, they want to run with it, they want to make it big, so they just move with it. That's notwithstanding. I think that there are times that you just have to move and find help along the way.
Along the way.
But I think that before you start any venture in Ghana, do as much research as possible before you do so.
Hmm. So now with the different kinds of, businesses or business registrations that we have in Ghana, which is like sole proprietorship, the partnership, the liability, the limited liability company, what are the differences and which one would you recommend for any young person deciding to start a business? Because I understand that some of them are a little bit more complicated than the other.
Mhm. Okay, so as you have mentioned, there are three main business forms you can register in Ghana. You have the sole proprietorship, the partnership, and the limited liability company. There are lots of people in this country who are running businesses without any form of registration. They start a business, they have a cool name, they go with it, and they run with it for years. But I think at the barest minimum, register your business as a sole proprietor because the registration is what gives your business legitimacy. If you say your business is called ABC Company, what proves that it is called ABC Company? Does it have backing or is it recognized by the states? If you register your business, at least you have a registration document that shows that this business belongs to you. Because anybody can get up and say their business is ABC Company. So as I said, sole proprietorship, which is the barest minimum. And to be very honest, it's not expensive to register. In with less than 200 CDs, you can actually just walk to the Registrar General Department. Now, the office of the Registrar of Companies in Accra, walk in and register your business. You'd be given your certificates, whatnot. The second form is the partnership. I think this is when people come together, they contribute money to form a venture. What usually happens is that At the end of the day, when there's revenue, you take out every expenses and you share profits based on how much money each person contributed. So this is for people, maybe you have an idea, or there's an idea that both of us feed into. We feel that we don't want to make it very rigid yet, but we also want some form of accountability because I may not be able to trust you to run with it or register it as a sole proprietorship. Neither would you also be able to trust me to do with it. Now let's come together, form the business venture, and be accountable to each other. So that's how a partnership works. And the biggest, I don't even say biggest one, but at least for entrepreneurs, is a limited liability company. So with a limited liability company, it is the one that is a bit more complicated because you would require directors. In Ghana, you need at least two directors. You need a secretary. Secretary has to be a lawyer, an auditor, a lawyer, an accountant, and there are a few qualifications for that. You need an auditor. You have to have share capital and whatnot. There are also certain requirements or certain things you have to do every year when it comes to a limited liability company. Usually, I would advise people to start out as sole proprietors. And when the business is expanding, you are getting funding, you are getting recognition, you can pivot to limited liability company. The advantage of a limited liability company is that it has limited liability. That is, the company is viewed as an entity separate from its owner. So when something happens, the company is attacked and doesn't affect the owner. However, for a sole proprietorship, the owner is not different from the company. So if debt collectors are coming after you, they can come after your personal property. But for a limited liability company is a different entity. The owners are different entities. There are instances whereby they call something lifting the veil, where the owners would be attacked if something has to, something concerning the company has to be done. But generally, the owners are separate entities from the company. That's the limited liability company.
This video is proudly brought to you by Board House Electrical, your one-stop place for all your solar needs. Imagine doing some serious work, then your lights go off. Charlie, ECG. That means you have a productive day because you solely depend on ECG to produce your work. With a complete solar system from Board House Electrical, you can provide all your power needs 24/7. You know, I'm even wondering why we are wasting the power of the sun when we have a lot of it. Like a lot of it. Charlie, the sun, it a burn, no. I'm not even going to talk about the increasing cost of electricity these days. Let's not even go there. Let's not go there. They said the thing has increased by 35%, but you are buying double of what you used to buy. Contact Board House Electrical with my promo code TJU and let them take care of all your solar needs. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Now, in what situations would that lifting of veil happen?
Yeah, you want me to school you? Yes. See. So people hide behind the separate legal entity of the owners of a company and the company to do things. So let me not school you too much. But if maybe something happens, the company takes a loan, right? Maybe you do investigations and they realize that it's not the company, but it was the people behind the company through certain fraudulent activities. They were trying to use the company to cover up. In such instance, they will lift the veil and attach or attack the people behind the company. I mean, there are several instances, but let me just paraphrase everything
To this.
yeah.
Now, for the partnerships that I've had going on, I heard it takes way longer to actually, or it gets more complicated for the partnerships because sometimes people are in agreement and then all of a sudden they are no longer in agreement. Have you ever experienced a case like that?
So interestingly, partnerships are not very common. People would rather do sole proprietorships or limited liability companies. There are certain businesses that you find lots of common partnerships in the maybe in the legal, if you want to set up a law firm, auditing firm, especially with the professionals. With those, at least a few ones that I've worked with, have not experienced any issue like that. As I'd rather advise, if you want to do a partnership, why not just graduate to a limited liability company?
Why would you advise that?
So there are two people who have an idea, they want to make it work, right? So those two people can become the shareholders of the limited liability company. The same two people can become the directors. One person can become a secretary, and you just have to get an external person who is an auditor, qualified to be an auditor, to form that.
Okay, so it's not compulsory that the people have to be different. So the shareholders can still be the same set of people that are directors.
Yes, it's possible.
Oh, nice. Now, if my business is registered even as a sole proprietor in Ghana, is it recognized globally? So does it mean that my business name cannot be registered somewhere else in a different world? Like not in a different world, in a different country?
So the registration you do in Ghana is exclusive to Ghana. So let's say your company is called ABC Company Limited. Nobody can register ABC Company Limited in Ghana, especially maybe if the person is also in the same industry as you. So usually they have a name search they do at the registrar general, where if you want a name, you go there, you search to find that nobody has used it. If they find that it is available, they will let you register it. Anybody else cannot register it, especially when it's in the same industry. However, they can have ABS maybe company as um tailoring business, right? We can have ABS company as construction business, right? Sometimes they would advise that you add a few letters or even something just to separate
Make
your
it different.
yes, differentiate it. So the registration you do here is exclusive to Ghana. You when you register in Ghana here, it's legitimate in Ghana. That's notwithstanding, you can, depending on whichever country that you want to register your business in, you can search. There are lots of online tools. You can search if it's available, the name is available. Then you search if it's available. You register it as well.
Now, for business people, some people like to do limited liability because they are avoiding tax.
How?
Well, per the knowledge I have, I know that as a limited liability, you can buy certain things in the name of the company, and then that takes you out of certain tax brackets. You have to pay a lot of tax because the company is doing that as an expense. I don't know how true that is.
I get where you're coming from, but I don't think it's a narrative we should push out there, because whether you're a sole proprietor or a limited liability, you cannot do away with taxes. At the minimum, even as individuals, we pay VAT on the basic things that we purchase. So if it's for tax purposes, I don't think limited liability is the appropriate form of business to register. However, depending on who your tax advisor or your tax planner is, they're able to help you structure your entity in such a way that there are things that would pass as expenses that will not be taxed on it. But I don't think the purpose, or you should decide to do a limited liability company because of the taxes.
For content creators, what are some of the legal documents that you think they should have when you're having an agreement with somebody? Say a brand reaches out to them, oh, market this product for us and would give you this.
So you're talking about influencers?
Yes.
Okay. So I think to the barest minimum, you should have your maybe engagement letter, right? Which specifies the amount you are being paid, how long the engagement is running. It should be written. I mean, most of the brands would also have theirs. Then you'd have to comply with it. But I feel that you can always negotiate the terms.
So if I register my business as a sole proprietor, are there any other things that I need to do after I've been given that? I think it's called Form A. Form A, and then the business card that some people like to frame and hang.
Yes, so I think a lot of businesses don't know that there are ongoing compliance requirements. So, for instance, as a sole proprietor, you have to renew your business name every year. It's just 70 CDs. A lot of people don't know this. So, if you register your business in April, the next year April, you should go to have it renewed. If you're a limited liability company, you do something called annual returns. So annual returns is just looking at how much you made, a whole lot of things. So you would file your audited financial statements and fill a form. I think you pay like 100 CDs every year. But this is something you do every year just to be compliant. Now, if you don't pay your annual returns or you are not compliant, assuming somebody wants to invest in your business, one of the things they do is due diligence. During due diligence, they would conduct a search at the ORC. The ORC is where you register your business and all that. The ORC will generate a report on the status of your company. The status of your company would show whether you have any liabilities, there are things you have to do and you haven't done. As I said, lots of businesses don't know that they have to be doing these things. So it can pull up a report that shows that you've not filed for about 5 years. And this affects the valuation of your company. So assuming somebody wants to pump $100,000 into your business, right? One of the things they do is due diligence search. So due diligence is just to make sure that the various regulatory bodies produce a report of the status of your company. So one of the places they would go is the Registrar General's Department, or the ORC as it is called now. So what the ORC will do is that they will pull out a report that shows the status of your company. Assuming you've not filed for 5 years, that's about 500 Cs, right? This can affect how much money the people are coming to pump into your business, right? So just to make sure that you're always in good standing, because you never know what is coming up ahead of you. Always in good standing, file your annual returns, renew your business name, and if you also have ongoing compliance obligations to your regulator. Some regulators would ask that you produce certain documents every 3 months, every month, and all that. Just so that you're in the good books, make sure that you do all your compliance checks and make sure you perform all responsibilities. And this goes back to what I spoke about on the market research. If you had done a good market research, you'd find out all these obligations and you know when and how to fulfill them when they come up.
That means I've not done a good market research. I just work because I don't think a lot of people even know this. Now, looking at creative people, how best do you think they can protect their work? Because I know people say you can't copyright an idea. Is that entirely true?
An idea is not expressed. So how do you copyright it? Copyright protects things that have been expressed. So is it a song? Is it a painting? Is it even code, like your code when you program? It has to be in a tangible form that you can make meaning out of. If it's an idea, it's in your head. How do you copyright it?
So right now, for us creatives,
Hmm.
how then do we?
What makes you a creative? Your creation.
Yes,
It's not your idea.
it's not that, but the idea is what leads to the creation.
So it's the creation is the idea expressed in a tangible form. So till this is expressed, I don't see how you can protect it unless you keep it in your head.
Still searching for the right computer? I know the feeling. Having the right computer makes all the difference. So whether you're working, gaming, or just staying connected. For almost a decade, I've been working with Elite Zone Enterprise for all my tech needs. They have quality computers and they also handle repairs and maintenance. So if you need something compact, check out this tablet. Small but powerful. And the best part is, they also deliver straight to you. Enough with the search. Call Elite Zone Enterprise today and let them handle all your tech needs without any hassle. Let's get back to the video. Okay, for digital art like this, it's on like a tablet or something, and I send it to somebody. I make something and I send it to somebody, and the person takes my work. At that point, it's still my work and produces it at a higher level, or maybe broadcasts it to a lot more people, and they go to him thinking that that's his work. Can I sue that person?
Even before you even bring the other person in, you should be mindful of the tools that you use. Some of the tools that you use claim ownership of the works that you produce. So you should read your terms and conditions and all that. I don't know the tools you use to create the art.
Some of us don't read terms and
You should read, because some of them. So in fact, the things you post on social media, one day when you make time, just go to maybe Instagram or Twitter and read the terms and condition, and you know what they are using your content for. Like it's your own picture you have posted on your platform, but you've lost like 90% of control because you have posted it on their platform. When you are signing up for the platform, there are terms and conditions in there that you probably didn't read.
we
Yeah.
don't read.
So for digital art, for instance, I don't know the tools you use, but you should make sure that the tool that you are using is not claiming ownership of it, because by default you are not the owner. It has gone to somebody else and the person is using it or commercializing it. In fact, the tool that you use can even come after both of you.
Hey.
Because some very scary. No, because some of the tools allow you to create content or create art or create whatever that you're creating, but not for commercial purposes. Some of them would also um give certain restrictions here and there. But to a larger extent, these things are not enforced. But that doesn't also mean that you should take advantage of the loophole because you may never know when they will strike. You may never know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There was a recent publication as to a certain artist took another artist's work. This time around, it's a music artist taking a creative artist's work, like a sketch of something, took it, produced merchandise with it,
Okay.
broadcasted it, people bought, and that is the brand that represents that individual right now. Now, the person who created the initial artwork has shown proof that this person took my artwork and produced his. Now, upon pursuing the case in court, it took forever. In such cases, is there like a fast track way to expedite the judgment? Because it's clear that this item was stolen from this person. What would be the process to even go about such situations? Because there are a lot of people who suffer that.
Yes. I think before you even go to court, you should be able to exhaust other dispute resolution forums. A lot of things actually don't go to court. They end up settling. So for instance, you steal my idea, I find out, I come to you. You know that you stolen the idea. You're like, "Well, you know what, let me give you $10,000 for this thing," and it goes away. I think you should be able to at least try resolving it amicably. As you said, you have proof to show that you are the one who created the thing. And some people are just thieves. They wouldn't budge. But even before you go to court, you should make sure that you have exhausted all available dispute resolution fora before going to the courts. Because as you said, courts can be very tiring, very long. And sometimes at the point whereby they are giving the judgments, the subject matter is not even relevant anymore. Sometimes times have passed, or maybe the judgment you get is not sufficient. There are so many things that could go wrong when you go to court. That doesn't mean that don't explore going to court, but all I'm saying is that before you attempt going to court, make sure that you've exhausted other dispute resolution forum. Aside courts, there are other ways, legal ways to solve issues. So there's something called arbitration, which can be a little bit expensive, but sometimes a little faster than the courts. Not everything can go to arbitration, but for commercial disputes, whatnot, you can take it to arbitration. So how arbitration works is that the two aggrieved people would usually go to an arbitration center. I think Ghana, we have the Ghana Arbitration Center. You choose an arbitrator who would be like the judge, and both of you would arrange how you want to do the case and all that. At the end of the day, you pay the arbitrator anyway, and they would resolve the issue and give judgments. And these judgments can be enforced in courts. So you don't necessarily have to go to the courts all the time.
All the time.
There's arbitration, and there's also mediation, which is more like amicable settlement here and there and all that. But the court system generally is quite slow. So if you want an expedited um process, I don't know.
You have to go through the
Yeah.
arbitration system.
Not just that, but as I said, I would always advise people to attempt settling, right? Because like you give them, okay, you stole my idea. Sure, you've made money out of it. Okay, pay me this amount of money, you know, and whatnot.
That's interesting. Before we get back into the video, please take this moment to pause, subscribe, like this video, comment, share, and turn on your notification button to get a notification every single time we post a video. Thank you. Let's get back. I'd like to know, what's the legal fees for lawyers like in Ghana?
What the legal fees? How much they are charged?
Yes, how much they charge, or what's like an average spend for any entrepreneur that contacts a lawyer or creative person that contacts a lawyer.
Okay, so maybe I'll give you an overview of how lawyers charge. So lawyers charge based on their years of experience. In fact, the fees are determined by the Ghana Bar Association. So there's a scale of fees which you have to follow. If you go below it, you are not honoring the profession, right? So depending on the years of experience of the lawyer, they will charge you based on that. Second thing is maybe their area of specialization. If what you are entering into is highly specialized and you want a specialized lawyer, of course, you're going to be charged based on that. And specialization comes at a cost because there wouldn't be lots of people who have maybe an understanding of a certain industry like that person does. So if they're charging, it's going to cost a little bit. Whether legal fees are expensive or not, I think expensive is relative. But I always tell entrepreneurs that it's better to spend a fortune at the beginning and save yourself the hassle of running into trouble in the future. Because usually at the time that the trouble has come, you might end up spending way more, not just money, but your time is going to be wasted, maybe a dent on the brand that you have built so far. But some of these things could have been prevented if you probably put your house together from the beginning. Yeah.
So people should just get a lawyer is it at the very beginning?
Yes, for me, I say that even at the ideation stage, the point that you have an idea, speak to a lawyer. This is the idea that I have. This is the business I want to enter into. What are the things I should look out for? They would advise you. As I said, sometimes they can even help you fine tune the idea because some things may be legal somewhere else, but it wouldn't be legal in Ghana. So by just engaging a lawyer, you have saved yourself a whole trouble of running an illegal venture. Unless you know the very thing you're doing.
Now, in the age of AI, right?
Okay.
I've heard people say, you know what, I can't get a lawyer, but I can get AI to draft me that contract. What do you think about AI and the legal side of the world?
I don't know why you'd rely on AI to draft a contract for you.
It's fast.
Because there are certain nitty gritties that you may need in your contract that the AI tool may not be able to do for you, right? And mind you, these AI tools are trained based on data from elsewhere, other parts of the country. So assuming you're in Ghana, they haven't been fed with lots of data on Ghana. So whatever they draft for you may look good, may look cool. But however, when it comes to enforcing that contract, you find trouble. I've seen an AI draft a contract where the law was a US law. I'm like, you're in Ghana, why are you writing a contract and putting US law in it? But people have signed that contract. You can enforce it. It means you have to go to the USA to, if a trouble comes, you have to go and submit yourself to the courts in the USA. What people don't do is that usually when they tell these AI tools to draft contracts, they don't even read them. They just take it. Yeah, I think you may. I don't advise people, but you can have the AI do whatever you want to do, but at least read it or have a lawyer look at it just to fine tune it for you. As I said, there are certain things that you tell a lawyer or a legal professional to do that the AI tool may never appreciate it. So please don't use AI to draft. Also, we have to eat. We also have.
We also have to eat it.
Yeah, so bring the money.
I
And,
think.
and another thing too is that what you also don't know is that some of these tools, of course, they tell you it's very secure. But the information you are feeding to the AI tool is your data that you are putting in there. Some of these things may be confidential. You wouldn't want it out there. And they would use this information to train their AI
Yeah,
system.
not.
You never know when it will go out there. You'd hear cases whereby they say that there's been some data leaks, data breaches. Yours may be part that it is going, but in your head, it's a confidential venture or something you didn't want out there at least yet. But because you fed it to a tool, it's out there.
The tools that we don't read the terms and conditions. I've never read terms and conditions on any app or any.
I try, but I think you should. You should.
Now, what even motivated you to read law? What's the story? Because
Ah.
some people just get up and like, yeah, I want to be a lawyer. Some people develop it based on I like arguing, so yes, I want to be a lawyer. And then there are people like me who are just wicked and want to sue some people. I've told you a couple of times I want to drag some people to court. But yeah, let's put that.
So the truth is, I actually dreamt of studying law. I had always wanted to be a lawyer, but maybe later in life. But right after I finished SHS, I had a dream. I was studying law in KNUST. So I applied and I got in. But I mean, the reality of it is that from where I stand, we are people who are very privileged. We have certain knowledge that the normal person or the the regular person doesn't have. So at least from what I've come to know, I think that it's a great opportunity to help people. As I said, I see a lot of entrepreneurs just doing their own thing. So at least for me, as far as I'm concerned, entrepreneurs, particularly in the tech space, let me add that, is something I'd want to do.
Mm.
Yeah.
But what are some of the lessons that you've learned as you work in the tech space?
Oh, not just tech space. So with my few years of experience, one thing I've come to know is that the things that we take for granted, maybe the things that will come back to bite you. It can be a full stop. It can be a comma. It can be just 1 0 that you don't regard. But you may never know what will happen in the future and it will come back to bite you. The people we see in courts, I don't think they plans to go to court at a point, but it may be some rookie mistake, some little due diligence could have solved, but they didn't do it. And it will come back to bite you and it will cost you a fortune. So if there's anything I have learned is that you should be very, very particular about the things you do, like the contract you sign, the applications you use, the people you engage with, because you may never know when it will go south. Always see the other person as somebody who has probably a bad idea, and always seek to protect yourself, no matter how cordial the relationship is with the other person. Because people can switch up, companies can switch up, and you should always look out for yourself first. And forget about friendship, family. I mean, it's business we're doing. Unless um, you'd want to toe that line. But when it's business. If you have to enter into a contract with your family member, you'd enter into a contract with them and enforce it when you have to enforce it. Yeah.
If you have to enter enter a contract with your family member. I had an experience with some guy, and it was not an amazing experience. Now, the only thing that saved me was we drafted some paperwork. I nearly entered that agreement with, oh, bro, it's okay. You had know you. And today, the switch up is crazy. Right. So, talking about copyrights, now there's this. I'm good. Let me paint a scenario for you. This is a real life scenario. Now, I am a producer, a content creator, and I've produced a movie. I publish it on YouTube, and people know that this is my movie. Now, a TV station takes my content from YouTube, downloads it, and broadcasts it in a different country.
Okay.
In that case, what happens to the copyright? Can I come for that TV station?
Yes, you can. I mean, once you see the way copyright works is that once a thing has been created, the rights is vested in you, even without it being registered. Right? So for any other person to use that content, they need to get permission from you. I don't use too much legal words. They need to get permission from you. The permission may be that, okay, just go and use it. The permission may also mean that, okay, go and use it, but pay me this amount of money. The permission may also be that, you know what, I'm waiving all my rights um in this material to you. It means that you are going to use it. However, always name me as the creator of it. So you can't just take somebody's material online and use. Mind you, you should also be mindful of the fact that some of these um platforms also have certain terms that once you have posted the movie or the content on their platform, you have lost your ownership. So anybody can take it, can use it, whatnot. But generally, once you have created something, you should be able to benefit from it, either being named as a creator of it or enjoying some money from it. So yes, the person can go for the TV station and ask them to pay her what is due. They should have their license to be able to use a material because especially when the other party who stole the material is making money off it. Yeah.
Now, I also recently experienced something where I used a sound that was royalty free. Like there was no copyright on it or anything. 3 months down the line, I get a strike that that song is no longer free.
Okay.
Is that even wait? It's possible because that happened to me. But why would that even happen? Does it mean that the person now goes to register it that you know what? I'm not doing the free again.
So it's possible, as I said, license. So you can license a work for a period of time. So assuming I create a sound, I can license it to a platform for the platform to use for 2 years. After that 2 years ends, the platform loses the license. So it is no longer free. People who use that material or that sound will have to come to me to pay to use it. So giving permission to someone to use your work is not in perpetuity. You can limit it to a period of time. You can put there are so many ways around it, there's conditions around it, but it's not in perpetuity. So for instance, let's go back to the lady whose movie was showed on a TV. She can say that, okay, I'm giving GTV the permission to show my movie, but only on Sundays. It means that if you show the movie on a Saturday, she can come for you. I'm giving GTV the permission to show my movie for one year. After that 1 year, they can't show the movie. If they show it, she'll come for them. So there are so many ways that you can give permission to people to use your works. However, you still maintain the ownership, and at any point in time, you can claim it back.
Hmm. Now, can you share an experience where you gave a legal advice to an entrepreneur in the very early stage and they took it? And what was the outcome? What was that story like?
I mean, the things we do are very confidential, so I'll try as much as possible not to make it very obvious. But I have already mentioned that people don't do market research. So somebody had this idea that they wanted to run with. Unfortunately, it's a highly regulated industry in the finance world. And there's so many things you need to produce for the BOG. The amount of capital you need, so many things. And the person just had, as I said, had this idea, wanted to run with it. I advised him that, you know what, this idea wouldn't work. Let's rather go this route. Let's pivot, arrange things in a certain way. And it worked. And eventually, when they had put their house together enough to do the initial idea that they wanted to do, they went for it and business. Yeah.
It turned out well.
So assuming they had gone straight away, they'll just be running and the BOG would
Shut it down.
bring a notice that do not engage these people. The BOG doesn't know them, blah, 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 whatnot. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Now, we are going to play some fun games.
Okay.
Yes, fun legal questions. So, this one is upfront or later. Would you rather pay a huge legal fee upfront or risk a much larger lawsuit later? Oh, this one there, I think this is obvious. This one, yes, obvious. You said it already.
Upfront. Pay and save yourself the trouble.
Prevent every problem from coming.
Not everything is preventable, but at least those that are within your power to prevent from their onset, just pay the price and prevent them.
Mm. Now, has there ever been a time where you actually trusted a handshake over a written agreement and it worked perfectly?
I mean, these things work until trouble come. I mean, there are so many handshake deals that we enter into, and because maybe we trust the other party, we're able to pull through with them. But I think that when it comes to big transactions, you should always, always, always document them because you might never know what will happen. I mean, handshake. I mean, that doesn't mean that you have to be a very rigid person to document everything. There's still deals that, I mean, just a handshake would work. Assuming the amount of money you are losing is not that much. But I think as much as possible, when you are doing huge transactions, you should document them.
Mm. Now, what should creative people look out for before signing contracts with managers, agencies, or collaborators?
Mm. I think most importantly, you should know who owns the rights to what you have created. Some of the managers may not explain things to you very well, but the content you've created or the material you've created, some of them belongs to the agency. You have no right to use them, even though it is you and all that. So I think that's the most important thing. And maybe your money. How is your money going to be paid? How often? Is it a bulk sum? Is it in tranches? How do you make sure that it is paid in tranches and all that? I think those two, but most importantly, who owns rights to what you have created? Because it causes so much trouble that people don't know. Because someone might think that, okay, I've shot a video for fan mail, right? Fan milk is using the ad, but you might never know somewhere in the contract, you yourself can't use the material to promote even fan milk itself. Yes. So who owns the rights? And there are ways to negotiate it around that. Some of the rights, for instance, the company will own it for some time, and after maybe 5 years, it reverts to the original creator. So it means that for 5 years, you can't use it. But after 5 years, it comes back to you, you can use it to do whatever you
Whatever you want. Nice. Now, handling disputes. What practical steps should someone take if they are already in a business or creative disputes and haven't yet involved a lawyer?
involve a lawyer. I mean, I think it's that simple. Involve a lawyer.
So you don't, but you said we could go to the arbitration.
But I mean, lawyers, you go to arbitration with a lawyer. Also, I don't go into an arbitration. You go with your lawyer. I go with my lawyer. So it's like
So it's still,
formal court setting, sort of. Yeah, just involve a lawyer. I don't know why people. I don't know if people are afraid of lawyers or
we are.
really. But
Yes.
very cool. Am I not?
No, you are very cool, but not all lawyers are that cool. Would you rather, be a partner in a law firm or continue working as a normal, like a regular employee? Have the freedom of being a regular employee?
I think entrepreneurship is very difficult. I don't know why people think it's an easier way out of a 9 to 5. But I think if I get to the point whereby I'm ready to take up that difficulty, I would. But I think for a few years, I would rather work in a corporate entity, work for somebody, because it gives it. I don't have to think about paying someone's salary. It takes that burden off you. All you have to do is to make sure you work. At the end of the month, you are being paid for whatever arrangements you have with your employer. But I think entrepreneurship can also be very rewarding because you're in control of your things, right? You work when you want to, you go to work, you do the things that you want to, and it's pays how much you invest into it. So if you do it anyhow, the results would be the same. But as I said, depending on how you are as an individual, you may decide to do a normal employee route, or you go full blown entrepreneurship, or even combine both. I know lawyers who work in entities that have their own legal practice. So they work in a company, but they have their own firm that they take to do things. So maybe at some point in time, I'll start my own firm and gradually transition from being an employee to full time
Full time.
entrepreneurship.
Now, if you were to pick a local meal, which meal would it be?
Local, is jollof local.
Jollof is not local.
Fufu and light soup. Smiths.
Fufu gang, tree gang.
With pepper, like lots of pepper in it.
Hey,
Yeah.
with lots of pepper, they
Light
are not
soup.
new.
As the name said, light soup. I don't like heavy light soup. Like light.
It has to be light.
Oh, not very light, but light. You put onions. You put okra. I'm not a big fufu person, but I think once in a while.
Once in a while, you enjoy a nice fufu. I know many nice fufu joints
Okay, you owe me a day outside.
with fufu. Oh, I know like 3. Thanks to some particular guy. Now, a fun day outside, that is an adventurous day outside, or a day relaxed, chilled, sitting at home, watching some nice movies.
I think this one is obvious.
It's not obvious. Hey, some people
I'm a homebody. Typically, I'll be home, resting, sleeping, But lately, I'm trying to be a little bit adventurous, stepping out, getting some air outside.
hey.
Maybe it's with age.
So no rock climbing, paragliding.
I'm not very adventurous. Yes.
Okay.
The witches in my village, they wear kampu, so
So you have to be careful with Derek.
careful. Yeah.
I see. Would you rather file your own taxes and hope for the
I
best?
think you can at a point. I mean, I felt taxes on my own. I'm not that. I made someone teach me
How hard is it?
taxes.
Yes.
It's complicated. So you need to understand like the rates, you need to understand your exemptions, you need to understand and the type of taxes that are applicable to the service that you're doing, certain thresholds. It's a whole lot. So I think from the beginning, you should engage a tax professional. Let them plan it for you and all that. At a point, you can do it by yourself. However, as your business is growing, you may have to have a resident or in-house person to handle these things for you. But for a one-man business that you're just starting out, engage people, the right professionals to do it. You may be able to do certain things by yourself at a point. But as the business evolves or grows, I think you would have to require the services of somebody in-house to be doing it.
To do it for you. So I do have or know some people that record their business, incomes and revenues and everything on a particular app. Can that then be used to help in the tax filing?
Yes. I think it simplifies the process of you always adding all the manual things.
Mm.
You see that the purpose of the tax filing or the person you are filing it with is the GRA. You should be mindful that they also have certain formats that they want their things to go with. So if whatever tool you are using aligns with the format they are looking for, I think it works. So find out if the tool, there are certain standards within certain industries. So if the tool aligns with those standards, I think you could generate your documents to be used for filing there. Yeah.
Now, what's the easiest way to reach a lawyer? After all this, we never argue.
Haha.
What's the easiest way?
So fact, lawyers are not allowed to advertise. So I don't know whether you've ever seen.
I mean, who be that?
Yeah, it's
Must be
it's
something.
against the rules of the profession. But you know me, so
Yeah,
you
but
can
I
reach
only
me.
got to know you through someone.
Yeah, so there's a tool called Lawyer Locator. When you just Google Lawyer Locator, it gives you a list of all lawyers in Ghana. Some of them have their contact and emails there. You can just go there, contact somebody, and you are good to go. But it's to give it up by the Ghana Bar Association. Yeah. I don't know the web extension, but just Google
Lawyer locator.
It gives you a database of all lawyers in Ghana, the firms they practice with, and even depending on how the lawyer has structured, it's you can know their areas of specialization or interest. Some of them have their contact numbers, there, so you can easily call them.
Call them.
They have their emails there and all that.
I'd like to say a very big thank you for coming all the way to this
Thank
place
you for having me.
to answer all my plenty questions. And thank you for sharing all the information and all the knowledge that you've gotten over the years. You said it's just a few years.
I'm still getting them, so
Few is very relative, pa. You never mentioned the number of years.
few years.
Few years. Anyways, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being a guest. And we'll be signing out at this point. But please, what are some of the few words that you have for my audience?
Right. I think I've said a lot, and wrapping everything up, I always tell entrepreneurs or business people that don't let the cost of legal or engaging a legal person prevent you from engaging them at the right time. Because at the point where you get into trouble and engage them, you might pay more. In fact, you would pay more. So, at the very least, at the very beginning, engage a legal profession, have them advise you on how to structure your business and save yourself a lot of trouble. The journey uncovered, it was a great pleasure being here, and I would advise all listeners and viewers to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification button to be notified on episodes that are aired, and like this video as well.
Now, thank you to our sponsors, Elizone Enterprise, for providing this tablet. I call it a tablet, but it's not really a tablet. It runs like a computer and it's good for lawyers. Yes, legal works. But it's also good for secretaries, MCs, and anybody that likes to work on the go. Now, Elizone Enterprise is not only involved in tablets like this, but they also do laptops. They sell laptops. They make and produce gaming PCs for anybody who likes to game. Yes, so those gamers, contact Elizone Enterprise for your gaming PC. A special shout out to Board House Electrical for providing us the solar setup that we use to run the production, because we need to have stable lights. Now, if you're a business or you're a homeowner looking for stable power in your house and you don't want to shout, "Oh, ECG," anymore, contact Board House Electrical and let them provide the right setup for you. A special shout out as well to Is Visual Render for providing us with a studio space to have our recorded sessions. They are a 3D visualization studio, and they produce architectural images and interior images for real estate developers and interior designers to market their projects and also share their ideas. Right. So this will be the end of season 2. And now I know all 300 of you watching at this point, we are grateful to have you on here. But we are most grateful to our guests who have made it possible for us to have this episode. So from Nalamli Couture to Judy Lally to Gina Mensah to Giddens to Tokota to Stephen Che from Leather on Call to Richard Ewa from Raw Leather Works. Then Jessica Frakuma, who is a content creator. And finally, our lawyer over here. It's really been amazing. You guys have been a blessing to us, and we are grateful for you. And also to my crew members, they've been amazing. Like some episodes we had to reshoot, we had a whole lot of problems, but they have been amazing. Thank you so much. This is the end, like I said, but we'll see you in season 3. So stay tuned, subscribe, turn on your notification button, because you'll be getting a lot more videos. Bye.